CM Punk returns to Smackdown. What did he have to say in his first promo back on the blue brand? The first two matches of the first round of the U.S. title tournament take place. And what is the fallout from Randy Orton's return from last week? All that and more here on today's episode of SPP, the Springboard Plancha Podcast. And it starts now. Yo everyone, what's up? It's Friday night, so you know what that means. It's Friday night Smackdown review here on the SPP show. And tonight was a pretty big night of Smackdown, coming to you live from Providence, Rhode Island. And it's the special, I believe, the 21st edition of the Tribute to the Troops. So that was very, very highly evident. So before we even get started here, anybody that's watching that's a military service, either now or has been, thank you for your service. Appreciate it so much and hope that you enjoyed the show. So the first thing we want to get to on this show for sure has got to be that CM Punk promo. CM Punk makes his triumphant return to SmackDown after, I think the last time he was on SmackDown had to have been, I think before 2014. I think he hadn't been on a SmackDown show, I think maybe since 2013. I could be wrong about that because I'm not sure if the brand split was a thing in 2014. It's been so long. But either way, it's been about 8 or 9 years since the last time we saw CM Punk on SmackDown. So CM Punk comes out for his in-ring segment, cutting a second promo that is just off the walls, completely different from the promo that he did when he first came back the Monday after Survivor Series. And in this promo, I think this is what more people were expecting. They were expecting this CM Punk when he came on the mic, not the one that was very kind of happy-go-lucky, I'm happy to be back, I'm happy to be here kind of guy. People were expecting the I'm here to make money, not friends guy that they got at the end of that show, which conveniently WWE seemed to cut out of all of their promo packages after the fact. But in this promo, he called out just about everybody on the roster, it seemed. He definitely called out Roman, definitely called out Seth, but also kind of hyped up most of the big time stars on the roster as well, like Kevin Owens, like LA Knight, and of course Randy, amongst other guys. And so it was a pretty fiery promo. It was really good. It was a lot better than the one that he had the other night. Planted seeds for his possible next feuds. I think we all know we're headed towards Seth at some point, and apparently we're going to be headed towards Roman. I wouldn't see why not. He did not sign on this show either. He says he will sign his contract on what show he wants to be on coming up this next Monday. But had a lot to say in this promo, and then also had subtle, I don't want to say, maybe not so subtle, shots. His first shots fired at his time in AEW with the backstage punch, but kind of put it in there in a way that made it seem like he was talking about Kevin Owens, although we know exactly what he was talking about. It was a little bit of a shame that the crowd didn't pop on that too much, but the casual WWE crowd doesn't really pay attention to AEW anyway, so maybe they just didn't know what was going on. And the crowd was a interesting crowd because you had a very, very mixed crowd, but it seemed pretty fired up for CM Punk. They were fired up most of the night. This promo ends with him saying that he basically wants a main event match at WrestleMania. That's why he came back. So I'd almost assume he didn't declare for the Rumble, but I'm assuming that's where we'll probably see CM Punk in his first in-ring action, I would guess. But a lot of direction here that we can possibly go with it. We'll find out on Monday where he goes. But Tribal, give me your thoughts on what you thought about this promo, because it was completely different from the other one that we got when he first came back.
All right, well, let me get ready for this really quick. Let me get ready for this. Break this down for you really quick.
Oh boy, I'm gonna take a drink of water because I'm gonna need it.
Let's start off with you said he didn't declare for the Royal Rumble. I want to beg to differ. I think he actually did. He did talk to the crowd about. He basically sort of alluded to it, right? He was like, "You guys want to see me, throw everybody out of the Royal Rumble and win the Royal Rumble. Um, I do agree with you. This promo was a lot different from the last time. He made sure to break the fourth wall and talk about how he's got the 9 o'clock like kind of segment, and he's not gonna get taken off of TV or pushed to finish the show, pushed to finish what he's his promo early. So that's probably why we got a whole different type of promo. I felt like he was all over the place, though. Absolutely everywhere, right? He's talking about things that happened at AEW. Though he basically declares for the Royal Rumble. He hits LA Knight's promo. I mean, he talks about where he should be in the tag team stuff. He asks the crowd, should I be on Raw or SmackDown, which like felt a little clumsy. Like I think he like even stumbled into like the Kevin Owens thing, and he was like, well, let's just change the subject from here. I really feel like he's free, just going off of this freestyle, right? He's coming off like, I guess he's just coming off the hip with this stuff. I mean, it feels like WWE is giving him a lot of leeway to do a CM Punk promo, and true to its like nature, that's what it feels like. Where it doesn't feel like it's scripted. But I think sometimes when it doesn't feel like it's scripted, he tends to go off in different like avenues as well. And then there's a whole lot to unpack in this topic, right? So, yeah, we got a lot of things, right? He called out Roman, kind of threw a little bit of shots at him. He talked a little bit about Seth again. And I think we all know where he's going there. He kind of pandered to the crowd and was like, Raw like kind of sent me like a thing, like a contract, and like the crowd didn't respond to that at all. And he was like, you guys want me to, to sign with Raw, and it was just kind of weird. And then the whole, we all know he's not going to sign with SmackDown. So he said he's kind of partly leaving it up to the fans, but really, is he leaving it up to the fans, or is this going to be a CM Punk sort of, I'm going to make the best decision for me, right? Because he's not here to make friends. I'm pretty sure he's also not here just for the fans. So one last thing I wanted to point out, and I'm going to let you just tell me how you feel about this, because he talked about he wants to visit Shawn Michaels at NXT. And I'm thinking to myself, what does this have to do in the larger scheme of things? Because we don't know, you're not going to sign at NXT. You're going to Raw or SmackDown. So I'm not too sure what that was about. I mean, maybe you can kind of shed some light on the NXT thing, because I was super confused at that point.
No, yeah. So like you said, there's a lot to unpack in this promo if we really want to piece it piece by piece. This is really just truly, I think, now obviously we're not back there talking to people, and I don't have any inside information or things like that. But this really did seem to me like on this one, they really did just give him a mic and tell him, go out there. This is where we kind of want you to go with it, but the rest is you. We're not going to, at this point, CM Punk is not a guy I think that needs to sit in front of a writer and have him write his entire promo for him at this point. I think he's way past that point in his career where he needs that. And it showed, because this is your typical, this is your usual CM Punk promo that you get. And I think a lot of it was about him, right? Making it about him a little bit, about what he's going to do here. He could do so many different things. But I think what it also did, and this is what I kind of liked about it too, I kind of alluded to it at the beginning, was that it put a lot of things in WWE over. Not just people, but things. And NXT is one of those things. And the fact that he even mentioned NXT at all, I think that's a good... I mean, now it makes people... I mean, not that people don't... I'm not saying that people don't care about NXT, but it's good to get that rub from a guy like him. NXT is a good show. I might sign there. It's a good show. He's not going to, but I might, right? Because it's a good show, and giving those guys kind of a rub like that, I think that's a good way to do it. I don't think he did it as a slight. I don't think he did it as a well, I might just go to NXT because Raw and SmackDown suck or whatever. And I don't think he meant that as a slight. I think that's actually just giving good praise over there. But this promo just pretty much, I think this is what people, he even said it himself. I'm going to give you what you're looking for then if you don't want what you got. If you didn't like what you got the other time, I'm going to give you what you want. And this is exactly what CM Punk does. and he does it so effortlessly. Doesn't not a lot of guys that can do this. There are. I mean, we know that there are only a few guys that have the capability to go out there and just talk a mic off. But there's so many different directions you can go here. I don't know which one they're going with, but I also forgot to mention Cody. They also teased that too. He's gonna, one of these two guys want to finish their story, but which one's gonna get to finish it? Only one of them get to win the Royal Rumble, right? So that's another direction that you can go with it too. I did like it because I think I'm not sure if it was you or if it was Zero that had mentioned it, that mentioned it the last one of these last times that Seth Rollins was just a song. his character was just a song, and I believe CM Punk said that about Seth. I was like, ooh, that's mega heat, and that's going to be an awesome program if they decide to do that. He also kind of posed with the World Heavyweight Championship that that kid was wearing. And I thought that was kind of like, that's foreshadowing too. I just like where this is going. I mean, I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I think CM Punk does bring an element of excitement to. It definitely brought an element of excitement to this show, because compared to last week's show, I mean, it's kind of kept you in tune for most of it. He was very prominent throughout most of the show too. Other than this promo, he had quite a couple of backstage segments, a run-in with Kevin Owens, which was kind of cool to see. The backstage segment with Nick Aldis, with him getting handed the contract, which then led to the face-to-face with Cody there. And then, of course, the face-to-face with LA Knight and Randy Orton. So wherever they decide to go with CM Punk right away, I think that there's just plenty of possibilities. And the fact that it seems like he's willing to be a major part of whatever show he's going to be on, not just in a single part, but possibly be a cog in all of these different wheels, then I think that's a good thing. It shows, at least gives me hope that this can work and that he really does want this to work. That this is not just a thing that he's just coming in to do just because of whatever. It actually looks like he's trying. And if that's the kind of CM Punk that we're going to get, then I think it's going to end up being a good thing. But we'll see how it goes. But this promo was definitely a lot better than the last one he had. And it definitely will set up some things as we go forward into Royal Rumble season. But I don't know if you have any follow-up thoughts on that you want to mention.
Yeah, man. CM's just so polarizing, right? Like, you
Very.
either love him or you hate him,
Very.
right? Like, I just think it's like, and there's on one hand, I really appreciate the rawness of his promos, but then sometimes I feel like they're a little messy and they're maybe a little too, like, dry sometimes. I think it's like a little bit of dry humor, whereas, when I think of the best, wrestlers that can put on the best promos, I think of people that give you those, like, mic drop moments. John Cena, The Rock, even Roman Reigns is like pretty good at putting on promos right now, and giving you those. Sometimes I think CM Punk's, like even like his pipe bomb, right? It's just a real raw emotion, and there's nothing like super catchy or gimmicky about the promos. So he's very polarizing. He talks about. Everything CM Punk tells me, it just fucking feels the opposite. It's just so weird, man. Like, he says everybody in the back loves me. He's walking around the back and they're showing everybody hating him or like looking at him weird, or like it almost looks like nobody in the back. Nobody's clapping his hands like, good to see you again. And he's saying all these things. And it feels so weird. It feels wrong. It feels like it's opposite of what he's saying. And I think like all this tells me is that for me personally, like he's gonna end up having to become a heel again, because this face thing, it's just not natural to him. It doesn't look natural. I think right now it's gonna be okay because he just came back. But like he's like a natural heel. It's gonna go back to he's just good at being a bad guy, and everybody personally looks like they don't like him. So he's good at playing the bad guy. I mean, for whatever reasons, right? Maybe they just don't like him. Maybe they are jealous. Whatever it is about him. but he doesn't feel likable like to the other talent. And he's coming out saying that everything's Gucci, but like, is it? It doesn't look like it to, the naked eye. So what do you think about that? What do you think about his promo skills compared to the best in the business? And then also, what do you think about what he's saying and if it holds water? Like, what he's saying sometimes seems opposite. So what do you think?
Well, let me tell you something, since we're missing Mr. Zero here. He, right now, is, or even not, just right now, I think even before he left and whatnot, he does operate in that what you like to call that quasi kind of face heel spectrum, because he's just so polarizing, and the fans latch on to that no matter what. Whether he's playing a heel character or a face character, the crowd just eats him up. They were eating him up tonight. And so I think this is why I think you can go any direction with him. I think he does play the heel character a lot better because he's a really, really comes off as just a mean guy. Doesn't really come off as a nice guy. He doesn't play the John Cena role. He plays the anti-John Cena. He always has been. As far as like Mike's skills compared to some of the other guys, he's up there. I mean, there's only going to be one Stone Cold, one John Cena, one Rock. But given, if you just go back and watch, he's more of I guess he's just a more raw promo kind of guy. He's going to tell you how he feels. And 9 times out of 10, the people are going to like that feeling. They'll be like, hell yeah, fuck John Cena. Yeah, sounds good. If you're telling me, yeah, that's great. I don't like John Cena. I don't like The Rock. I love that CM Punk's telling me that The Rock is a lame old catchphrase from the 90s. It's just that kind of thing. And, CM Punk doesn't have any catchphrases. Feel free to tell me which one he has, other than a Raw one that's claiming he's the best in the world.
Dude.
All these other guys have catchphrases. This guy doesn't. But yet it still comes off. That's his promo. It's like a realistic, like if I came off the streets and I'm going to talk smack to you kind of guy, that's who CM Punk is. And I guess, and people just latch on to it. He really is, in a way, without the catchphrases and, the one-liners, he really embodied what Stone Cold was in the 90s. Now, I'm not trying to get crazy here. But you understand where I'm going with, like, as far as, like, just being able to be really, really raw and real to an extent, which is why that Monday promo that we're all talking about came off as kind of odd and weird, because that's not really who we've known CM Punk to be. So maybe maybe that's just how he felt that day. Maybe he actually walked into, for the first time in a couple of years, into a workplace where he just felt nice. Because this time in AEW, I guaranteed he walked into that place most of the time feeling like ass because those guys sucked. Or to him, at least. You know what I mean? Like, at least to him, like, obviously there was a lot of bad blood over there, and he probably just didn't really like going to work very much. And maybe he came here and just that day just felt really, really good and just decided to tell everybody how good he felt about it. And forgot, I kind of need to be a wrestler too, sorry. And that's what this promo was for. Reminding you that he's a wrestler too, and that he's looking to accomplish some things here and whatnot. But I think once they give him his first like direct feud, I think we'll get more kind of one-on-one direction and those geez, just the guys on the list, right? Those are all guys that can do good promos. So put any of those guys together, and I think you're going to get promo magic between him and most of these guys that he named tonight. Like, God, I can just imagine how those things are going to look like if and when they happen. But yeah, I think we're still kind of getting, most of us are still getting reintroduced to CM Punk. It's been 9 years, so I guess at some point we will get a little bit more solid. This is who Punk is now, and this is where it's going to go. But for now, we're kind of sprinkling in a little bit of spice here and there, and we're kind of putting some more things in the sauce and seeing what we can get out of it. But good stuff tonight. That's the promo that you're looking for. got the crowd going, got, you know, yeah. I mean, yeah. What else can I say about it? Good
Do you
CM Punk
think that
Rumble.
he's do you think that all is good in the back in the background? Like, do you believe in what he's saying? He said it twice now, 2 weeks in a row, that everybody in the back is happy to see him.
The one thing I will say about this is that in no company, we all know this, right? In any company that you're in, I mean, you can talk about the company that you work at. I can talk about the company that I work at. I don't like everybody that works with me. I don't talk to everybody that works for me. But
But I don't go around saying everybody likes me at my workplace. The question is, do you believe?
But I'm a businessman, you know, and I'll go in and, you know, I'll do business and I'll be kind and cordial unless I don't need to be. Now, I'm not saying I think there are truly people behind the scenes that just really don't like the guy, and that's okay, right? That's fine. Like, I honestly don't think that everybody loves him, you know. But I will say this: if he's willing to do business, then it's gonna make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Because this makes everybody a little bit more happier if things are on the right side of things, right? And I think all those people in the back, you know, they're all established. They've all been there, especially the leaders, right? They know that if the minute that this thing starts going south, it's done. There's not going to be a lot of leeway, right? And I think CM Punk knows that. He knows where he's coming from. He knows he's coming from a place. At least I would like to hope that he does. That he's coming from a place where they gave him a really, really big leash and it didn't work out, right? There's a lot of baggage there. And for the WWE side of things, like, we got a good thing going here. You know, our backstage is good. You know, we don't have very many. We're very professional, but we're also, you know, like, we all have goals. We're not over here bickering with each other all the time. The morale is pretty good. So we would like to keep it that way. And we'd like you to be a part of it, you know, in every way that you feel that you might be able to. But the minute that he goes in and people start feeling like maybe he's more of a poison than he is, you know, a contributor, then I think that's where the relationship ends, and then you move forward. So I don't think he's here to blow things up. I think that'd be really stupid on his part to just come in and just say, well, I don't like nobody here. Like, fuck y'all. Like, no. Like,
I think that's brilliant. I'm going to completely disagree with you. I want CM Punk to come back and say, fuck y'all, I'm the best in the world, and I'm going to I'm going to beat every single one of you guys. Every single one of you guys are going to learn that I'm the top, and I'm the best, and I'm coming for Roman, I'm coming for Seth, and guess what? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
Now,
that's what I want, is that I want him to be polarizing and be that, like, back, CM Punk versus the world. Like, that's what I want.
No, don't get me wrong. From like an on-screen perspective, sure, if he ends up becoming that, that's fine. That's great. I'm talking just more like behind the scenes, right? Because that's what really That's what really matters in the grand scheme of where this thing is gonna go. But like, I'm sure that there's some people that still just don't like him on a personal level, but they'll be willing to do business with him. And I think in this go around, like, I think he really, like, he knows his leash isn't very long, to be honest with you, because why would it be? And so I think in a way he does kind of have to play team player a little bit and play by the rules a little bit here. And we'll just see how long it lasts. Hopefully it lasts a long time. You know, hopefully they were able to see the outcome of all of these different things. But tonight we did get a little bit more of the CM Punk that we're used to seeing. It's not quite fully there yet, but definitely a little bit more direction. Made his presence felt, and I think the threat of CM Punk is now there. Now, what I did find, just one last note on that. Well, you mentioned it. I did actually kind of find it funny when, and it's not just him, it's just when anybody does, especially when you start doing these brand warfare kind of things. When you start asking the crowd, like, do you like SmackDown more or do you like Raw more? And it's like, but the crowd will play into it sometimes, and I'm like, but you're gonna go to a Raw show if the Raw goes to your city, right? So then you're only a SmackDown person for tonight, but then when you go to Raw in like 6 months, you're a Raw person.
It doesn't really matter.
I personally, I just find that funny because I'm like, I'm not a, but I guess, it's kind of fun sometimes to be like, I'm a Raw guy, or no, I'm a SmackDown guy, but you're going to go to a show if it's in your town, right? No matter if it's Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
You're not going to say, no, I don't want to go to SmackDown because I'm a Raw guy. Like, no, if the wrestling's in my city, I'm going to go and check it out.
Yeah.
So I always find that kind of funny when they do that.
Doesn't make
Like,
any sense.
I'm like, well, you as the crowd, like, why do you care so much? Because you're gonna watch Raw on Monday, right? Like, it's not like you're gonna say
they only go to SmackDown shows. That's it.
you only watch Raw, or you only watch SmackDown. You never watch Raw. You never go to Raw. Like, you don't care what happens on Raw. You only care what happens on SmackDown. You're a SmackDown crowd for life. And so, like it's different, like in sports, like no, hell no, I can hate the Eagles because I don't like the Eagles. So I'm a Cowboys fan. Makes sense, right? Like, I want the best players to go to the Cowboys. I don't want them to go to the Eagles. But in this case, I'm like, I like wrestling. Like, why would I like one show or why would I pick one show over the other?
Yeah.
I just find that kind of funny. That was just something that I kind of got, and I was like, and the crowd was actually biting into it, and I'm like, but you're gonna watch Raw on Monday. What's the point? Whatever. But I do. But
then they're gonna be Raw fans.
Yeah, but to finish that, I think he signs on Raw. I think it makes sense. Makes more sense. But there are some matchups on SmackDown that would be kind of nice to see. But I think that's going to be saved for later. I don't think
he's ready for those matches.
I think he's better suited for Raw right now. I think the matches and the direction where they're going to with Seth, that's just money, money, money. And that's the way he gets to the main event. Whether it's in night 1 or night 2, whatever, right? It's got to be that Seth and CM Punk matchup. I don't see any other way that CM Punk gets to a main event if that's where the direction that they're going is with him right away. Mm-hmm. But good promo, good stuff. It was well marketed throughout the week, and it paid off in my opinion. Whatever way you want to think about it, I think it at least paid off. It wasn't just him coming out for 2 minutes. It paid off. All the hoopla for it paid off. So we get to the beginning of the show tonight, which starts off with our first matchup of the U.S. title tournament that has 8 different guys. And if you watched last week's show, or excuse me, if you watched last Friday's show, we got it right? Our predictions on who the matchups were going to be on the tournament, we got the bracket right.
Yeah, we actually got the bracket wrong.
We did?
We had Bobby and KO on the same side, and we had the NXT and Santos on the same side.
Okay. We got
supposed to be,
we got the matchups right, but we just didn't get the bracketing right. I was
actually surprised to see the bracket today. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bracket. So we got the first. I guess we call it the left side of the bracket. We got those first 2 matches tonight. Starting off with Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee in round 1 of the title. Of course, the unfortunate thing for tomorrow's show is that Wesley will not be able to compete against Dominic Mysterio for the North American Championship due to a really serious back injury that he'll need surgery on. So they insert Dragon Lee into that. So Dragon Lee will be competing tomorrow
the second time
for the NXT title against Dominic, who made an appearance right before this match started. And surprisingly, I thought he was going to be more of a factor in this match, and he really wasn't. He wasn't at all. He was just there. But this match was pretty much about the same as the Survivor Series, but I thought it was a little bit better. There was a little bit more flash. I thought they had a little bit more, a couple more high spots than they did at the Survivor Series match. I liked it. The outcome is what I expected, though, which was Santos Escobar winning the match. And then of course you had a little post-match, quick little beat down and spit on of Dominic to set up their matchup tomorrow. Unfortunately, somebody has to lose this match, and Santos is the guy that I think has the hot hand in that one. So it is what it is there, right? You tell me what you think about that.
I mean, I told you I'm right every single time. I'm right. I'm batting 100 for 100. I told you what was going to happen. So we have Santos winning, right? And you got Dragon Lee. His ass got beat twice clean. Mm-hmm. Twice now. They send his ass back to NXT. So he's going. Somebody moves up the ladder and somebody moves down the ladder, right? So now we got Dragon Lee. Now, look, I'm not gonna say like he's gonna stay there forever, but the honest truth is that this man is an opportunist, right? Every time somebody gets hurt, he's stepping into their spot for their match. So I think this is the second time now. Um, every single time. So he's an opportunist. I do think that they angle. So this is another unpopular opinion, right? But this goes back to what me and you argue about all the time, which is clean matches versus maybe some shenanigans, right? Where you have Dom sitting at ringside, and he doesn't do shit. He might as well have not even been there. Like, he waits till the victory and it's over, and then there's no flash, there's no flair, right? Like, you almost like, if you're there, do something, right? Build this match, because what you're doing is building the match for the championship, right? Because Dragon Lee's stepping in, but it just kind of falls flat. And I don't know if this is a Triple H era thing now, where it's like it's really being pushed that clean victories are going to kind of, because I want to say, like, we haven't had a shenanigans finish in a while now. Maybe like 4 different like Raws. I'm sorry, like 4 of the last like Raw and SmackDowns, we really haven't had any shenanigans. Everything's been clean wins, clean losses, and that comes at the cost of maybe a little bit of lesser impact when somebody is out there on ringside, right? You have damage control out there, nobody does shit, right? Like it's kind of like, well, what the hell are you out there for, right? Or whatever. It just keeps happening like this. It keeps happening. So but ultimately the match was good, right? Santos is exactly what we thought he is. I do think it's interesting, and we should have a little debate, right, on who is the king or who is the future of Lucha. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You got Dragon Lee, and then you got Dominic Mysterio when he said, like, I'm the future of Lucha. I was like, holy shit. Like, it didn't occur to me that Dom actually could be the future of Lucha. So does that set us up for possible Dom Santos later on down the line? I mean, do we go further on with this?
Okay.
I don't know. So what do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, that's actually one of the things. I'm glad you brought that up. Before I get into that, though, I want to say you're gonna like this. I actually agree with you this time, because this is one of those instances where I felt you could get away with doing a like wonky or like a distraction finish, and it wouldn't, because it would work, because Dominic could distract Dragon Lee, which would then lead him to losing, which then would still keep Dragon Lee strong going into tomorrow's matchup against him, right? But you didn't do that. So I feel like if you were going to do it, this was an opportunity to go ahead and make sense to do it here, and they didn't, and it kind of just made Dragon Lee look a little weak tonight. Like, I guess you can say, like, well, the presence of Dominic Mysterio distracted him, but it didn't really. I don't know. So now, if you're going to tune in to NXT tomorrow night to their premium live event, do you believe that Dragon Lee is going to beat Dominic Mysterio? I mean, sure he can, but he just lost tonight for the second time against Santos Escobar. So how much confidence do you feel in that, right? I mean, granted, he is a late replacement for an unfortunate situation, but who knows? Maybe they will have him. Maybe they will have Dragon Lee beat Dominic tomorrow, because it's my understanding, if I heard on commentary correctly, that Ray's going to be in his corner tomorrow, in Dragon Lee's corner. I thought I heard that. Did I hear that wrong?
I don't know. I don't know. I must have spaced out on that. I don't know if I heard that. But they were saying some crazy stuff on commentary tonight.
But we'll get into that in a minute. But if that happens, then that's an interesting wrinkle, which then creates that whole thing like we were just talking about, or that you were just talking about. That I like the concept of a lucha libre like resurgence within WWE. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, I'm not saying I'm not saying you need to have a division of it, like a cruiserweight or anything like that again, but at least some kind of presence of it again, because it creates great matchups. It creates great entertainment, and having this kind of, like, just for me personally, I'm sure for you too, it's good to have this kind of representation in wrestling, to have good Mexican wrestling presentation like that, to show that lucha libre, like, it's not just a small thing. It matters, and that's why it matters so much to these specific guys, that they would want to be the next leader of the new lucha libre era, right? I think that's kind of nice. That's kind of cool. I did like seeing that. I was like, damn, we got some good lucha representation here to start the show. That's nice. I liked it. I mean, the finish obviously could have been. I thought could have been
Judgment
better,
Day,
but
of course.
I like the representation, like the Mexican representation there, and I think the future is in good hands in that respect. But maybe you can see. I just thought about it, and maybe if you wanted to, you could do a WrestleMania. Now, obviously, you may have to work on Dragon a little bit and get him a little bit more up there. But I could see them doing him and Ray versus Dom and Santos if they wanted to do something like that. I don't think that they will because that would be the second year in a row that you would do like a Ray versus Dom thing. But I mean, I could see it if you really wanted to have that really high, lucha representation, I guess. But I guess it remains to be seen. Maybe not even at WrestleMania. Maybe just at some point I would like to see that happen. That's a pretty neat. That would be a pretty neat tag team on both sides.
Do you think? Do you think that Triple H can actually do something for Mexican wrestling, because it's kind of been like a recurring theme that they're like undercard wrestlers, and that's pretty much it, right? You look at the past, and I would argue that Kalisto was really talented, right? Kalisto, he was there. Sin Cara was endlessly, but he was entertaining. I mean, let's just say he was entertaining. He was good for the giggles, right?
They had an opportunity there, and they just didn't really capitalize too much on it.
Does this happen again with Dragon Lee here?
I hope not, because they have some potential here. I'm not saying. I mean, it's just so hard because you want immediately when you see guys lucha libre guys come around and whatnot. Immediately you want to go straight to, okay, well, is this guy the next Rey Mysterio? Man, it's such a high bar that guy set, man. It's so hard, right? You hope so, right? But I mean, that's when a guy like Rey Mysterio has the career that he has, that's kind of the bar for these guys, and that's really, really hard to hit. And the best thing that you can do is just continue to showcase them and what they can do, and hope that they start latching on. That's what happened with Rey Mysterio, right? You just keep putting him out there, keep putting him out there, keep putting him out there. Eventually, maybe you hope that people start latching on to him. I mean, I'd argue that Rey Mysterio isn't the best promo in the world, right? He's not the best promo in the world, but it's just there's something about him that is just people have latched on for over the last 30 years of his career, and that's what you're hoping for maybe with some of these guys, that you can just get at least one or two of them to maybe take that ring and kind of get there. That's what you hope for. I hope so. I hope this is not another your Kalisto situation or your Sin Cara situations. I hope this is something better. I really, really hope so. Luckily, he's just in the first year, and he's really young. Dragon's actually a pretty young guy, so you have some time to work and to get him there. Same thing with and even with a guy like Santos too. I know he's not a spring chicken or anything, but you still have a little bit of time to build that up and maybe see if you can get. They don't have to be world champions, right? I mean, I know that's how the parameter of top star can be measured a lot of the times. And well, did they win a world title? Did they win a world championship? I think we can all argue, to be honest with you, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent about it. We can argue that as great as Rey Mysterio has always been, right? Legendary, Hall of Famer, all of that. He was never a good world champion. Right? His world championship runs were horrible. They were bad. But so that's what I'm saying. I mean, you don't have to win a world title to get there. You just have to be in that echelon. And I don't know. I hope they're able to do this because, if we can get some really, really good Mexican representation at the top, that'd just be great. Personally, for me, I would love it.
Do you think that Lucha Libre needs to evolve, right? Because I look around and I see I see Santos, right? Who's like kind of dropped the luchador mask, right? And he's kind of putting on full on promos, and he's stepping into this new space that's making him feel so real and authentic. Yeah. And then you see, even before that, there was Andrade, right? So Andrade Cien Almas, he was also like, this guy had something, right? And that's why I wonder. And do you think that it needs to evolve? And is there still a place for that traditional lucha libre or
I
will
think
it always sort of be gimmicky and sort of at the bottom
there's a way you
of
can,
like the card, first, second match, something like that?
yeah, there's a way you can make it work, right? I just don't know because unfortunately you would need two to tango. You would need not one, but you would need two guys to like to make it to be that level to make it say these two guys main event tonight. They're the main event tonight, like because people are gonna like yeah these guys have got that main event spot right. You can get there. It just it's tough. I really do think it's tough because it's a different product. These guys that come from like AAA and come over from Mexico, it's a different product. It really is coming over here into the States and trying to translate it. For one, there's a language barrier always, right? And then it's just getting people on this side of the fence to care about that kind of wrestling versus how easy it is to just go over to Mexico and do it. And people eat it up over there. I don't know, it's just different. And I think, but at some point, you do have to showcase them a little bit higher. And hopefully you have guys there, either that are there now or guys that are coming up that can help with that. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I hope so. I really do. And I think if anybody could possibly make it happen, it's a guy like Triple H. I think. You know, I
hope so.
I hope so. I hope so because I'd love to see it. So then,
Bring Kalisto back.
maybe not, but like oh god, like Lucha House Party. Like God, why? Like you make it sound so like lame. Like, oh my God. But that's a different story for another time. But hopefully we're in the right direction here when it comes to... I like this presentation of it a lot better than I have it in the past. But yeah, so then as we continue the show, we want to talk about commentary. Oh my God, we got JBL on the show. I understand why they put JBL on the show tonight. I get it. You know, he was the one that came up with the concept of Tribute to the Troops, which is an awesome, awesome concept. But man, every time JBL doesn't do it on commentary for me. I feel like he just shits on everything, and I feel like he's very, very old school minded, and it's not for the better. Like I think within the first like 15 minutes of him being on the show, he makes what I thought. I mean, I get it, it's wrestling. What came off as kind of a derogatory remark about Irish people to Kevin Patrick.
What did he say? Refresh my memory.
Jeez, it was something along the lines of, you know, like you Irishmen need to stay or whatever. I would need to go back and when I heard it, I was like, oh God, I was like, what are we doing?
He's kind of got that old school wrestling commentator feel to him, right?
Well, he's got that old school old man personality to him. That's like not really like. And from everything that you've heard, I've heard, he wasn't really one of the most likable guys in the back and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so it is what it is.
I've met him in real life. He's not likable in real life either.
Oh, you have?
He's a jerk in real life. Yeah, he's a jerk in real life too. He is not a very friendly person.
Ooh, that would be a story. That's a story for another show. We should get into that. The times that we've met wrestlers. I haven't met very many, but I've met a couple of them. Yeah, so we get we get no Corey Graves tonight. Instead, we get JBL, and so fun times ahead for the rest of the night.
We got a hodgepodge commentator group today.
Yeah, we get what I thought was a really funny segment to backstage segment between Nick Aldis and Randy Orton after Randy Orton's return video package of him signing with Smackdown, where he hands Nick Aldis a check, and my first thought was, we're still writing checks in 2023, and surely Randy Orton of all people doesn't carry a checkbook with him.
Got that checkbook out of nowhere.
Yeah. hit him with the CKO. Hit him with the check KO, which was apparently supposed to be a $50,000 fine that Randy gave him $100,000 for as a future payment for what could be upcoming in the future. I thought that was kind of funny, but the check thing, I was like, I thought it would have been more funny, like imagine like Randy going up to like Nick Aldis and saying, "What's your Cash App? I'm gonna Cash App you that $50,000."
Yeah, he should have did something like that, right, to make it more believable.
Like here,
I thought it was great though.
like what's your cash
Like
app?
this
Or
is a good spot.
can I pay this fine in crypto?
Yeah,
But
Bitcoin.
the spot was good. Like I did enjoy the backstage segment, but the check just kind of threw me off. I was like, damn, we're still writing checks in 2023. That's hilarious. I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
I continue to enjoy these Randy Orton
Yeah.
promos, and I think like maybe I want to backtrack on my prior statement, which of like I feel like he needed to turn heel. I think I'm enjoying this kind of
Not
Randy Orton
yet.
right now.
Well,
Yeah,
it's kind of yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think he's just good. He's doing good right now with what he is, and I'm not gonna lie, like
Yeah.
I like seeing what he's doing right now. Um, I think he kind of threw me off, like with his like yeah, like that stuff
Yeah.
kind of threw me off a little bit. But I was like, is Randy okay? But then now I see him, and he seems pretty good. I caught him just recently on a podcast, and it was pretty good there too. So just hearing him talk, it sounds he's doing really, really good. I mean, I'm enjoying what he's doing now, and it seems like he's enjoying it too. It's always cool to see him. Like
Yeah.
I think he acknowledged a Make a Wish kid. I think on the ring on the way in too. So
Yeah, that was neat. That was
super
that was kind of cool.
Kind of says that's his passion now, and I mean, super humble. I think I really like the Randy Orton that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a
Sometimes.
heel turn anytime soon.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a kind of a big event to kind of give you perspective on a lot of things, and I think he's gotten that. With his career possibly coming to an end. With that injury. I think you got a lot of perspective on things that, life is short, time is short, have fun and do your thing, be true to yourself, but, enjoy what you do. And if you want to continue and do it for as long as you can, right? And that's the kind of Randy Orton we're kind of getting right now. And I didn't watch that podcast, but I read some of what he had to say. And I thought, wow, that was crazy. Like, we really did almost like not be able to get Randy Orton anymore. Like based on what he said, like wow, the guy could barely even sit down, or like or
Spinal fusion,
could barely stand up for minutes at a time. It's like wow, the fact that he's out there doing what he's doing, like on nights like tonight and stuff. It's like I'm very grateful to see him back, and it's nice. And you almost forget sometimes that because it's been so long, right? That his run with Riddle, the RK Bro era, he was actually doing some really funny and good stuff as a face. You just kind of forget because it's been so long, and that's what we're kind of still getting. We're still getting those elements. Like so, yeah. I think I want this for a little bit longer too. Like I think I'm okay with it because yeah, it's cool to see. And it's nice to see, and he looks like he is, like you said, he looks like he is enjoying his time. And we also get the news that match that I had kind of predicted as well is actually going to happen tonight. We're going to get the team of LA Knight and Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. So I was kind of surprised that there wasn't a previously announced match, but we kind of like had that indication that it might happen. Yep, that was set to be our main event for later on in the night. And yeah. And so we get to our first in-ring segment of the night, which I thought was kind of interesting. Another one that I don't think was previously announced, but we saw the promo flash up, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, "Oh, Cody's on SmackDown? What the hell? What am I watching? Friday Night Raw? Okay." But this was really not a promo for Cody to come out and continue a feud with Nakamura or anything like that. This was solely for him to come out, and this was all about the troops, which I thought was really cool.
All about the pyro.
All about the pyro. Give the troops a chance to see Cody's awesome pyro, to sing his song, and then of course Cody singing the praises of the troops. I thought it was a nice treat for them. You got the presentation of the Army drill team. And I thought that was for the show and for what they were going for with Tribute to the Troops. I thought that was kind of cool to give those guys from the Army drill team an opportunity to be on national television, worldwide really, and showcase what the United States Army drill team has to offer. Because go motherfucking USA. That's what I got to say. It made me feel very patriotic I don't know about you, but it got my red, white, and blue juices flowing. I felt really, really good.
It was just a good night all the way around. I
Proud
thought
to
that
be
it was very
in America.
ceremonial, right?
Oh, not to mention, I mean, geez, I feel like I'm really, really doing a disservice here. But we start off the show with a beautiful rendition of "God Bless America." That was some awesome. I really, really like that. I feel
It's
really,
classy.
really, I feel really, really terrible for not mentioning that first because those two really, really killed it. It was really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like one of those spots too where like this is where I'm glad that we don't have Vince McMahon, right? Because Vince would have done something super controversial with this. Like in the Vince in the past, somebody would have came out and took a guitar and smashed it over like our artists and made it into like this thing and spray painted them Canada, or maybe had Kevin Owens come out and do a
Or something
Canada's
like
bit
that,
against it.
or
Just
yeah,
to-
I know what you're saying. Like you would,
Controversy,
like
you
you
know
would,
what I mean?
like you would have had like Jinder Mahal come out and say, "Death to America." I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say that like that, but you know what I mean. Like, what I mean.
We
But
get what you're saying. Yeah.
don't cancel me, YouTube. I love America. I just loved America like 30 seconds ago.
Jinder's a nice guy. He's not gonna say that.
No, and it would be kind of, and what's really always been funny about those kinds of things is that Jinder Mahal's like, he's American. He was born in this country. He's from here. It's just his ethnicity is,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Indian, but he's from America. But that would be a Vince McMahon thing. Put him out there, and then Hulk Hogan comes out and gives him, his 60-year-old ass gives him a leg drop, even though everybody hates Hulk Hogan now because he's kind of a racist. But
Not good.
but this
Not
presentation
good.
just very, very nice and
Classy.
just what it needed to be, right? A tribute to the troops, and that's exactly what it was. And I enjoyed every minute of it. It was very, very nice. And so then we get into our next, our second match of the night, which is the second match of the first round of Bobby Lashley versus Karrion Kross, and we get what I popped for this. That's, and you know me because I love college football. I love and especially I'm from Texas A&M, part of the SEC, and all the SEC, most of the SEC games are on CBS and commentated by the legendary Brad Nessler, and he was there to promote tomorrow's Army versus Navy football game, and which he'll be commentating on. And he was a guest commentator for this match, and I was like, oh, automatically this night just got awesome. Brad Nessler as part of the commentary crew. I mean, that's just like you said. I think you told me, just legendary voice, awesome. That guy can commentate
You recognize that voice anywhere.
for real, and that guy can commentate. He can commentate a freaking egg baking contest, and I think you would be excited about it. So that was kind of neat. I thought that was another cool, neat thing to add in there. Just Brad Nessler,
How cool is that,
Brad,
right?
Brad Nessler on the commentary
co-promotion
team.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the co-promotion there is just amazing, right? Seeing
was
what
so cool.
WWE does now.
it was so neat, and
It's so cool.
And it was even more cool because this is another thing where just real quickly, right? This is another thing that we might not get with Vince because Vince is kind of a petty guy. Because Brad Nessler is on CBS, which is a competitor of NBC Universal, which is WWE and all that, and a competitor of Fox, whatnot. I don't think he would say, no, I'm not going to let that guy on here. Like, not on my show. He's he's working for the competition company or whatever. But it's just nice to get it right. CBS guy coming over and just having some fun to promote, America's game.
And he actually called the match too,
He
which
did.
was really
And-
cool. That
and-
was
and-
awesome.
And I don't know if he was being fed these lines or if he actually pays attention to the product, but even so, just the way that he talks, man, like, oh man, I'm sorry, but Kevin Patrick doesn't do it for me. I don't know what it is with him. It just doesn't do it for me. And you automatically plug in a guy that calls college football games and he sounds 10 times better. And even if he may not have the knowledge, he makes it sound like he does, like he knows it. Maybe he does watch the product for all I know. Maybe he does watch SmackDown every Friday and Raw every Monday. Who knows? I highly doubt it. But whatever he was being fed, he portrays it in a way that makes you believe that he just might. You know what I mean? Like Oh, it was cool. It was neat. The match itself,
great moment.
The match itself, though, that's a different story.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There was a match that happened?
So, oh yeah, they were commentating Bobby Lashley versus Karrion Kross, who Brad Nessler very, very greatly pointed out, which is what I pointed out last week, that this guy hasn't been here since August, right?
Yeah,
we haven't seen this guy since August, which is right. He hasn't been on TV since August. But here he is, random Karrion Kross return. And the best thing about Karrion Kross is his entrance, and mostly because of Scarlett.
His entrance is fire.
And mostly because of Scarlett Bordeaux. But God, just I don't know. I unfortunately I don't know where Karrion Kross goes from here. I really don't know. The characters, the ambiance of the character seems great. It's just I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have it, or I don't know. I mean, it's weird.
I don't think that he doesn't not have it. Like just watching.
No,
him,
yeah, you're right.
He's got everything. They just got to put together a program for him that sticks with him. But
he gets beat.
He can't. Yeah. He can't get beat all the time, and
that's what's happening with him.
It's more
right
of a question of what are they doing with Bobby Lashley, right? Because like you keep calling it that he's turned back into a babyface, like just on accident. Yeah, it seems like he's full babyface now.
Yeah, and I made a note here because I was like, well, Bobby's definitely not getting booed tonight. Former Army Major, yeah, he's not getting booed tonight. And they had a little video package before the match.
Correct.
Of his time, in the Army. So yeah, of course he's not getting booed tonight. So I mean, at this point, yeah, like you gotta turn. I mean, you have no choice now, right? You gotta turn him face. That or if you want to keep him heel, he's got to do something like despicable, like Drew. And I just don't think. I don't see why, right? I don't know.
No.
Just turn
Bobby's
him.
He's a better face.
Just turn Bobby face at this point. Everyone loves the Almighty. I love the Almighty. Just keep them face.
And the Street Profits are faces too, right? So like it all works.
They were trying to turn them heel, but once again, that's another reason. That's another reason they weren't on the show tonight, because they're going to get cheered, especially because Montez Ford's a former Marine. So I mean, I just think that's a face team. Just turn them all face. It's okay.
Just turn them all face.
I think it's okay.
Be done with it.
I don't think it's a
Give
problem.
Us what we want.
Just turn them all face. I think it's fine. People are gonna shit on it anyways and turn them face by themselves anyways organically. So just do it already. And I think it was kind of evident Bobby did not compete heel here at all. He competed fully face, and then won pretty handily. I mean, the match lasted. Yeah. I'm surprised the match went through one commercial break, but yeah, Bobby wins with the spear, and that's it. Karrion Kross loses.
Bobby Twinkle.
Karrion Kross loses another match, and well, we'll see what they decide to do with him. But Bobby moves on into the tournament. So your second round match is set. I believe Santos Escobar will go up against Bobby Lashley, right? That's what the way that's the way the bracket stacked.
That's how it's stacked, yeah.
And so,
how do you feel about Bobby's pants? His twinkle pants. Like I'm gonna call him Bobby Twinkle Pants from now on, because that's what he's. That's what he's wearing out there.
Like I said, that's another reason. Like that's not a heel looking attire, man. That's definitely
there's something.
That's definitely a babyface attire attire But yeah, my last note my last note on this was well, barely an inconvenience for Bobby.
Yeah,
barely an inconvenience. Like yeah. I did not believe at any time during this match that Karrion Kross had a chance to win it. So, I mean,
yeah. But do we really want to see Bobby Lashley versus Logan Paul? Do we want to see that? Is that something we want to see on the cards?
Have we not already seen it?
I don't think so. I don't think we've seen Bobby Lashley. I don't think Logan Paul's faced against anybody that's like truly legitimate like that.
Man, why do I feel like him and Bobby have already interacted? God, I could be wrong on this. I thought him and Bobby have already interacted in the past. Am I wrong about that?
Did he put Logan in the Hurt Locker? Because I don't know if there's a...
Man, I'm probably making something up here. I felt like they've already interacted, but maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm probably thinking of somebody else. But No, I don't think so. I think this thing is set up to be Kevin Owens. It's still set up to get Kevin Owens to Logan Paul. I think that's how. I think that's what this tournament is for. So then we get 2 matches this week, and then I believe we're gonna get 2. We'll probably get the other 2 next week, more than likely. It was announced in the middle of the show that there are already 2 matches for next week's SmackDown, right? That have been announced. Bobby Santos is going to be next week already?
Yes.
Oh wow. So then I guess
That's what I wrote down.
So I guess we're gonna mix in first round matches with that. With the semifinal match already. Wow, interesting. That's kind of quick, but maybe I didn't catch that. I did catch the stuff.
What was the other match?
No, you know what? I'm mistalking here. They made the promo for Monday stuff that's happening on Monday. Yeah, okay. we got Drew versus Jay on Monday. That was confirmed tonight. And then we also have Cody versus Shinsuke on Monday as well. Those are the 2 matches that were announced for Raw, which sounds good to me. Sounds
really good start.
Sounds good to me. But yeah, as far as next week's SmackDown is concerned, I don't think there were any other matches other than the semifinal, I guess, that were confirmed for next week. So then, of course, we had the CM Punk promo, which we went into high detail on. Then we got to the 3rd match of the night, which was the only women's match of the night. There was only 4 matches on this card, and I think that was mostly because there was a lot of tribute to the Troop promotion, rightfully so. It's that kind of a show. But you had Charlotte versus Asuka. The story here that still leaning into what's going on between Bayley and Damage Control. Bayley comes out in a backstage promo earlier in the night to say that she's voluntarily going to stay in the back tonight because last week didn't work out. And it still seems like everybody in Damage Control is just not really too keen on Bayley these days. And yep, they pretty much just tell her, you can stay out here, but we're going to go ahead and we're still going to go out there. Okay, so whatever's happening with Bayley, they just kind of further the story there. Once we get to the match, we have the entrances of Charlotte, the entrances of Asuka with all of Damage Control. And before Damage Control could even get to the ring, they're cut off by Shotzi. Oh, wait, they're cut off by Michin and Selena Vega. People that have been
the bubblegum dress.
People that have been damaged by Damage Control. And then as they're running up the ramp, they're cut off by Bianca Belair and Shotzi, and it's a brawl out and whatnot, which then leads to just a straight up one-on-one match between Asuka and Charlotte, in which in my head I was thinking, ooh, okay, just a straight up one-on-one match between these two. They've put on great matches in the past, and tonight was not one of them.
Oh no.
This match
not at all.
Literally lasted 5 minutes, and I think this match had more to do with story than it did what was going on in that ring.
3 minutes of it was like a commercial too. So
yeah, we had
only got 2 minutes of the actual match.
He had a commercial break in between, and then the result of this match is Bayley comes from the crowd again to get involved in yet another Damage Control match. Except this time it works, and this is where you actually had a distraction win for Damage Control. Asuka gets the roll up, wins the match, and Bayley is singing her own praises. You know, I did it. I'm still. I caused this. I'm still good. We'll see. I mean, that was pretty much it. There wasn't really any other. They didn't really take that anywhere else other than Bayley's interference worked this time. Asuka beats Charlotte in probably what I would deem the worst of Asuka versus Charlotte, which is a shame. But I don't know what you got on. I don't know.
Fire of a match. Yeah, So let's go ahead and just recap this Charlotte versus Asuka dumpster fire of a match, because that's what it was. It was pretty bad from beginning to end, which is really weird because these are two of the best competitors in the business. And when I say it's bad, I mean, we saw things that we weren't accustomed to seeing. I think we saw like some botches.
Oh, a
Some
lot
really
of
bad
them.
botches. Did you see? Yeah, this one was bad. There was a spot where I guess like Charlotte thought she was supposed to hit like the I guess the edge of the ring, and Asuka
She
was like walking the other way. That one was
like
pretty bad.
small little note on that, just real quick. She does that a
She looked at the
lot.
camera.
Charlotte does that a lot.
Yeah,
For as good as she is, she does that a lot. Like she'll like
yeah,
ram her own head into the mat, and no one will like.
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah,
She
continue.
has to play it off like somehow, some way, right? And then we get the somersault. So I want to say this: we shouldn't get a somersault every single match. She needs to calm down with this. I think it's gonna lose its like luster if we get it every single match, because I want to say the last 2 or 3 times she hasn't hit them at all. She's gonna hurt herself on top of everything else because she's landing on her feet almost every single time because she's completely missing this tonight. She completely missed the somersault. I mean, I guess Asuka wasn't in the right spot, or Charlotte just didn't jump the right way. But it was a complete botch there again too. So and then to make matters worse, I'm not too sure who it was. I thought it was Michael Cole. Was Michael Cole there tonight?
Yeah, yeah. He was the lead
Yeah, so
commentator.
Michael Cole's there, and Michael Cole says that Charlotte is selling the effects of the move because when we came back from commercial break, Charlotte was like hurt, right?
Yeah.
And he meant to say she's feeling the effects of the move, but Michael says she's selling the effects of the move, and I'm just like, oh my god! Like
Whoops.
every single spot in this match is just, it looks bad. I did wonder for a second if like Charlotte was legitimately hurt because the match felt like it ended too quickly, right? Because we got back from commercial break and it ended within like a minute of like it getting back, and there really was no substance to this like Asuka Charlotte match.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if like they're like kind of talking to the ref like, hey, we need to finish this matchup because I like something's wrong. Maybe I just suspected that she could have hurt herself like on the somersault or something like that. Maybe not actually a work in the match, but no, I mean it seemed, I guess she was fine, but the match wasn't, right? Like the match wasn't fine. The match didn't do either of them service. I'm sorry. The match didn't do them justice, rather. And then on top of all that, the dumpster fire of a story now, we get Bailey sort of getting back into Damage Control's good graces, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys. Are we gonna keep extending this for as long as it can go? Like, is she gonna be in? They're gonna forgive her now? Like, is she gonna be out? Like, at what point do we get do we get a definitive, like a definitive thing? Now, I do like, there is one thing that one possibility I might like, and I know we've discussed this before. We talked about payoff, right? And you talked about you want to get Bailey versus Io. I was also thinking, like, what if Bailey just like gets in Io's good graces and then just betrays her, makes her lose the belt, and just like, like you lost the belt type of thing. I mean, you get some sort of a payoff there because I don't really think that it works too well if Bailey wins the belt from Io, but it's possible. But I'm just thinking, what if it makes more sense if she makes her lose the belt, like.
Sure.
Costs her the title, right? Like she's like right now she's trying to convince us she's doing absolutely everything she can. She's taking bullets for everybody in Damage Control, and then that one bullet that you think she's gonna take, she doesn't take it, and she delivers the bullet instead, right, to Io, and like she builds that trust back up. They forgive her, they bring her back in, and then it's like boom, the turn comes, the thing that you didn't see coming of betrayal, and Bailey shows her true colors, right? So, I mean, who knows, right? But I do know that the story is starting to disinterest me a little bit as it continues to go, like this Damage Control story, and I just want to know like what's gonna happen, because we already passed War Games. I don't know, like they're still playing the mean girl bully game on Bailey, and
Well.
yeah, where do we go from here?
I guess that remains to be seen. What I will say is that, I mean, in some of these stories, they do like long long-term development, I guess. And with this one, I feel like we're headed towards that, but maybe not. I think we're getting to the finish line here on this one because I compared this a lot to last year's War Games time, like how you had that whole. Now, granted, this is kind of a different story, but follow me here for a minute. The Sammy and Bloodline stuff. The highest point of it culminated at War Games, right? When they all finally kumbaya together, right? That was there. We're all together now. Everyone's happy now.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew where it was going to go. At least I did. I don't know. But at least I knew where it was going to be headed to. At some point, this is going to end. But how long are they going to go with that? And they took it all the way to the Rumble. And then it was, they teased it for weeks before War Games too. You had the tribal court and all those segments and things like that. And they could have done it there, War Game. We could have ended there. They could have done it the next night on Friday, right? They could have done it there and said, well, you know what? You're not in. But they didn't. They drug it all the way to World Rumble. Now, granted, like I said, 2 stories on different popularity spectrums and whatnot. But I think that's where you're kind of headed here. I think they're going to try to keep this going for a little bit longer to maybe have some kind of payoff at the Rumble. What that payoff is, they have some options. Your option's one of them, which is, she cost her the title on purpose. Not on accident, but on purpose, right? But there's also the accident. Maybe she causes her to lose the title by accident, and that's the camel that broke, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know, but I do think they want to play this out a little bit more. It just looks like I don't think we're going to get a payoff on a random SmackDown. We might, but I guess it remains
How
to be seen.
How excited are you for this storyline right now?
It just kind of depends. I mean, I know where they're going with it, or at least I feel like I know where they're going with it.
Well, it has to go there, right?
And if that's where they're going with it, there's a way you can do it where it's gonna be pretty cool, and there's a way you can do it where it may not be as cool. Like I said, you got to change her whole scene up. You got to change Bayley into something different. And maybe that's where we're headed here. Or there's got to be something shocking that's going to throw us all for a loop and make us feel like, oh, holy S word, like here we go. And there's a certain thing that can happen, but there's a lot of things in play on that too. But,
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen, so let's move on.
I don't want to spend too much time on it. It could. You never know. You never know.
I'd be super happy because that's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But
never know. At this point,
you never know.
WWE,
Never
with
say
everything
never.
that's happened, you never really know. And just really quickly, she's not signed. She's out. She's a free agent. She's out there. She's not committing to anything. So I don't know. I'm just saying. There's a possibility
I just want to point
that. I don't think it'll happen either. But
do you think there's gonna be big purple pants to fit Bailey's big old butt inside of the hugger uniform again? Because my God,
I feel like
bro.
it's gotten 2 times bigger than what it was before.
I think it is too.
Not to get
zip code.
Not that we like to objectify women here on this show or anything, but it's kind of
can
obvious.
appreciate.
Like it's kind of obvious. Like I appreciate all the cake. I appreciate the Bailey cake, man. It's pretty. It's hard to miss.
If she goes back to her old uniform, it's going to be a problem for whoever's designing that costume.
It's hard to miss, man. Like, good Lord. Good Lord Almighty in heaven. Good Jesus. You go to church on
You know what?
Sunday
I wanted to turn face after all. Let's go for it.
Let's go for it, right? Just to see those pants. I just want to see the attire. But we'll see. But they got to do it sooner than later. It's already getting kind of like to that point where you got to put a little salsa on those chips, or else I'm not gonna want to eat them anymore. I know I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I tried.
Bro, we got to keep that forever now. We got to put some salsa on them chips. Otherwise, I'm not gonna want to eat them. Right there. There you go. There's your YouTube remix right there. Oh my God.
That
got me with that one.
That came straight off the hip too. I did not write that one down.
Oh man. That was good. That
So,
got me.
so speaking of salsa on chips, so we get to our main event of the night, which is Solo and Jimmy versus Randy and LA Knight in a classic "Can they coexist" kind of thing. You know, two guys that don't really see eye to eye, I guess, more or less. You know, they're just barely getting to know each other. It's not as bad. They don't. It's like they fought against each other or anything like that. But you know, this is your classic: put two guys together. Can they? Can they coexist? Can they make it work? And yeah, I mean, this was pretty good. I mean, they did a couple of tagging themselves in on both sides, kind of thing, which I thought was kind of interesting for the bloodline side of things, which furthers Jimmy's kind of still trying to be like, you know, the leader here, the pseudo leader and whatnot. Like, I don't know, it's still kind of an interesting cog. He tagged himself in a couple of times. Solo just continues to still look good in these matches against some of the top guys. The first time, I actually didn't pick up on it, and I actually was kind of surprised. I don't know if I don't think commentary mentioned it. I thought it would have been kind of cool for them to mention that this was the first time that Randy and Solo were in the ring at the same time, because if my understanding is correct, Randy was not around by the time Solo debuted on the main roster. So this was their first interaction in a ring, in a match together. So I thought that was kind of neat. But you know, good standard tag team match. Not really an explosive main event match. I think the match lasted about 10 minutes with a commercial break in between. You got the baby faces standing tall here in this moment, and that's pretty much it. Randy Orton hits an RKO on Jimmy. Jimmy takes the fall here. Solo is made to look still pretty strong, more or less. You have the baby faces winning, but I think the bigger thing is you needed this. You needed the baby faces to stand tall here because of what's coming next week. And what's coming next week? The Tribal Chief will be back on SmackDown next week, and his boys did not hold ground tonight. So how is that going to look for next week's show with in their interactions between Jimmy, Solo, and Roman? So I think that's what this match was more about than anything else. What do you think?
Well, I think we're about to see the implosion or end of the bloodline, like really soon, right? I mean, man, it's really, 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 really starting to slow down. I think I will call out one really awesome like observation, and that's that I feel like Jimmy Uso's finally coming to his own.
Oh,
I think
yes.
that this man is ready for singles competition. I love his new character. He's kind of doing like a Chris Tucker, like just like a funny guy type of thing, and it's absolutely hilarious.
That's
right?
That's a great comparison.
Over, right? I mean, it's like it's so over. He knows how to be like this like annoying, funny guy. And one thing I think was really important to know is that he's working the crowd. I mean, I don't know if you watched the match, but I couldn't stop watching him because he's working the crowd and like making little faces at them. And you know who taught him that was Roman, because Roman works the crowd like nobody else in the business can. I mean, he interacts with the crowd during matches, especially pay-per-view events, right? He really gets the crowd invested into the actual match. And I see that out of Jimmy. And of course, you know, everything he's doing, he's ready for it. I really feel like they need to get on this whole Jimmy versus Jay thing pretty soon. That would be really, really exciting to build for Mania. But yeah, I mean, the bloodline is imploding as we see it. Like Jimmy's like, he's not he's second string quarterback, but he's trying to put himself in the game every 5 seconds, right? And he's not, you know, kind of following what Roman Reigns wants. They're not getting wins. They're kind of looking weak every single week now. Solo's right where he needs to be, right? He's still looks strong. He never really looks weak. And even the stare down with Randy Orton, I mean, you know, I like what Solo's doing. So I think he's exactly, you know, his character is perfect for what he's doing. He's just like this crazy madman Samoan enforcer that's
what he is
right now.
Yeah,
and he doesn't need to do anything else. He doesn't need to be anything else. And then you got LA Knight and Randy Orton. They're all fine. Everybody's perfectly fine. What, you know, like you said, what happens when the Tribal Chief comes back? and honestly, I don't feel like SmackDown feels the same without him. So even with Randy there and with LA Knight there, it's like when you know Roman's coming,
It's a big
I mean,
deal.
man, it's a big fucking deal, right? Because it's like now the show feels complete, and you almost know you're gonna get a great show because of the fact that he's gonna be there, probably put on a promo and give you like a hell
Yeah.
of like something to look forward to, right? Whether that's Randy Orton or LA Knight in the future as well. So yeah, I think my sadness comes from the fact that like the Bloodline was a very good story, and now it does feel like it's about to
Yeah.
dissipate, and it does feel like everybody's about to go their separate ways. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if that's going to be the issue or that's going to be the deal, the culmination must happen at WrestleMania, and Roman potentially takes some time off after his loss, right? So, I mean, that's what
You
it's kind
think?
of like shaping up to be, right? Like it's kind of shaping up to be. It kind of seems that way. I mean, Roman's already kind of really embracing the part-timer
Oh yeah.
work schedule. He's really embracing that, and I mean, everybody's calling him out about talking about he's not there. But it's in his contract. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to be there. So what can you do, right? I mean, these other guys got to step up, and they gotta take over for the show when he's not there. So I mean, he can't do nothing about that. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think about like where
He
the
got
bloodline goes from here, and
well.
Jimmy, and what do you think?
Well, like that old saying says, all good things must come to an end, and I don't care what Paul Heyman says. We are not in the third inning of this story. I think we're coming towards more closer to that. I think we're at about the seventh inning stretch here at this point. We're getting to the end of it here. Because there's just not really a lot you can do with this anymore, in my opinion. Like, you can't, not really a whole ton of it. Yeah, there's an endless amount of Samoans in the family, and that you can bring in and keep adding if that's what you want to do. But I just don't think at this point. I think, like you just said, to your point, everybody that's left in it, right? Jay's already gone doing his own thing. But I think everybody else that's in it, obviously sans Roman, Jimmy and Solo are both bound for, I think, their own singles runs at some point. And I think they can hold their own in that. I think, like you said, Jimmy has shown me that I think he could have a nice solo run by himself. And Solo, I think he can have a good solo run.
That was
like broke my
like a
brain.
glitch in the matrix
Like
right
broke
there.
my
Yeah.
brain.
This is all a simulation, guys.
But yeah, he could have a good singles run on his own too, as a really really high powered heel, like brute heel character. I think that could work. And then and then Roman just he was brilliant in getting his new deal that basically only has him working a certain amount of dates. Like, brilliant, smart. Smart guy for getting that deal. So with that, yeah, you just aren't going to get Roman every week. So at some point, that does have to end. And when it does, you just can't have it anymore. Like, all good things have come to an end in the past, and it's going to eventually have to happen in order for these guys to do something else with their careers. Which, if for Jimmy, he's not getting any younger, and for Solo, you want to capitalize on all of this that he's been able to use to build up, and you want to capitalize it before that comes to a fizzled point, right? So I think that's where we're headed, and so how that blow up happens, I guess, remains to be seen. But I think that's where you're gonna be headed. But at least we know that next week the Tribal Chief will be back on television, and we might get a direction as where we might go with his next title challenger, as I'm sure he'll have a title match at the Rumble. He didn't have a title match. He wasn't even on the show on Survivor Series, so I would assume he probably has a match scheduled for Rumble. It's just going to be what is that match, right? So I think you could go. I think we've talked about it before. It's either going to be Randy, just straight up Randy versus Roman, or you could do Randy, LA Knight, and Roman in a triple threat if you wanted to as well,
Mm.
and then just have have Jimmy and Solo in the Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
could do that way, but
Yeah.
or just do Randy versus Roman, and then have the other three guys in the story just in the Rumble match.
Do you have Randy beat clean then? Because I mean, we're all anticipating Roman holding the belt to Mania, and
No,
I mean,
if there's
are we
one thing,
beating Randy clean?
if there's one thing we can count on when it comes to these Roman title defenses, it's some kind of outside interference.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the bloodline does. That's what they're gonna do until they can't do it anymore,
Yeah.
or until it backfires and doesn't work for the first time, or whatever. Right? And that's when the true implosion happens. The true implosion doesn't happen until something happens and Roman loses that title, because at that point you're not the tribal chief anymore, right? Like, you don't have the belt on you anymore. Like, you lost your belt, you did that, you know. And I think that's where the dissension finally culminates. But I mean, yeah, it's just as shown by tonight. It was standard. Send the crowd home happy. Send the troops home happy with that ending, and see where we go next week when Roman comes back.
Yeah. Do you like So I had a thought. Do you like Jimmy winning this year's Money in the Bank?
So the one for 2024, right? Like the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I wouldn't hate it.
Like what they could do with that.
I wouldn't.
What they could do with that.
I wouldn't hate it. It just depends on who are your title holders at that point, and how. But I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter either, because you could do a lot of things with that. You can do a lot of things with Jay. I could see Jay possibly winning it too, like to give him, another opportunity at it.
But I'm thinking like a heist again, right? Like I'm thinking like something like outlandish, right? Like Cody beats Roman clean, and then Jimmy comes in and cashes in on Cody at Mania.
Well,
and it's just an amazing Seth Rollins moment. And you walk into Monday Night with Jimmy Uso as your like champ, and nobody sees it coming, right? How bizarre, man! Like that's a Seth Rollins. That's what created him.
Well, unfortunately, I hate to break your heart, but you got your timing wrong, because they don't do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania anymore. They do Money in the Bank in May of every year now.
It's just like a month after.
Yeah, it's like in May. I think it's in May or June. I think it's in June where they do June or July where they do Money in the Bank. It's in the summer now. It's in the summer parts. So
what a pain.
And so Damien can hold on to it all the way until the next Money in the Bank premium live event. So
there you go. There's your winner right there.
So hate to break your heart, but if you want to see any kind of surprise, your surprise would have to be Damian Priest cashing in in the main event of WrestleMania.
Oh God, no! Forget it. Let's move on.
See, I knew you weren't gonna want that.
There's no way, man.
Want that.
There's just no way.
Like, could you imagine either way, like, just for a second, like, no matter if it's Cody or Roman, or if it's where we think it's going with CM Punk and Seth. Like, imagine like Seth winning, like beating CM Punk, and this like, or the other way too, or CM Punk beating Seth, and what's probably going to be like a really, really good laid out match, and like storyline is just so awesome going into it, and it ends with Damian Priest cashing in and winning the title, and that's how you end
I could see that
the night of WrestleMania. And you're like, oh my God. Like, why? Because he's not cashed it in, and he can hold it all the way till past WrestleMania if he wants to. I don't think that's the time that they do it, but
that's how you screw Vegas. You know what I mean? Like you
can just do it. You can just do it, I guess. But
it's got to be shocking. And you know what? You put Damien on the map if you do that. I have to admit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You put Damien on the map.
I mean, no better time to win a world title than at WrestleMania, right? Like, your name's in history books forever as only this, and it would only be the second time that the thing was cashed at a WrestleMania, anyways.
Wrestling's been a little too predictable lately.
Well, now that I think about it, there would be some kind of like poetry and emotion in that, because especially if he cashed it in on Seth at WrestleMania, who was the only person to have successfully done that at WrestleMania?
Seth.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
How like poetic would it be for him to lose his title at WrestleMania in the same fashion that he won it in, the only person to ever do it? Probably, in my opinion, the best cash in of all time.
Hmm.
Cashing in at WrestleMania, like, yeah, doesn't get
Yeah.
any better than that. I don't know. I think we're talking way too far in the future at this point, but either way, this SmackDown episode here, I enjoyed it from start to finish. Obviously, a lot of it was heavily based on the tribute to the troop concept, and that was really good. All of those elements, the segments in there. There was the Asuka and Charlotte match was a lame duck match, but everything else, like, I enjoyed the show. It went by so fast, so that's a good thing. When it goes by so quick that you barely even notice that the show's ending, it's a good thing. So I'm gonna give this SmackDown. I'm gonna do the same thing that I gave to Raw. I'm gonna give it an A minus. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it, and from start to finish.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're wrong. That's number one.
That's fine.
Let's start. Let's start with that.
That's fine.
Here we go. So, Santos Dragon Lee, pretty average match, I thought. Right. Randy promo, I thought that was amazing. So that was really good. Cody, there was nothing to get too excited about Cody, right? He came out to do sort of like a tribute, right? Bobby Carrion, nothing too crazy there. Bailey, her little promo, nothing too crazy. CM Punk, this is probably where me and you are probably like finding the extra points, right? I think you like his promo style. I think his promo style is a little bit all over the place, and it's a little too raw sometimes because I think he's shooting from the hip all the time, and sometimes his consistency, his message gets lost because it's kind of like his first promo, right? Everybody loves me in the back, but I'm not here to make friends. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's like he walks into stuff that doesn't make sense. He comes out again saying that, and then everybody in the back clearly, and I'm not talking from a personal perspective. I'm talking from his story perspective. That's where I feel like sometimes maybe he's shooting from the hip too much, and some things aren't consistent with like what he's saying. So that's a little confusing. And then Asuka Charlotte. This is my first time I've given a match an F. I thought this match was absolutely horrible. Like, with all the botches, I just thought this match was just this is probably worse than the worst match I've seen in a while. So overall, the Jimmy LA Knight one, decent match. I don't think that it was extremely interesting or super, out there or whatever. It wasn't even that much shenanigans, I guess, even between Randy and LA Knight. So overall, my show grade is a little bit lower than yours. It's going to be a B. I think that it was I think it's an upgrade from last week. But I just there's too many things that were just very average across the board, and nothing really. I mean, compared to Raw, the stuff that we're getting off of Raw is a little bit,
All right.
I think, of a higher quality. So, B grade.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. The Tribal Cheese hates the United States of America. He did not give the Tribute to the Troop show an A grade, so he hates America. He does not like America. Make sure the world knows it.
No. Don't say all that.
I love America. So because of that, this gets an A. It just upgraded to an A plus just for America.
Oh my god.
But
you didn't say it was because of America attributed to the troops.
Well, a lot of the reasoning for this show just seeming like it went by fast is just all of the. I mean, I did enjoy all of the tribute to the troops stuff. I thought that was very well laid out. That was very, very well done. This is one of the better tribute shows that I can remember that they've done. I always do enjoy the on-site ones, like when they go out to overseas to to camps over there. I know right now it's not the time to probably do any of that, but those are always been kind of cool. But this was nice. It was packed full of servicemen and women, and deservingly so. Once again, for all of you that are in the service that are watching this show, thank you so much for all your service, and just for everything that you do, because I know sure as hell I couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for allowing people like me to enjoy a wrestling show. Because without y'all, that wouldn't happen. So thank you so much. But yeah, so we'll looking forward to Monday Night Raw on Monday. 2 big time matches coming up between Cody and Shinsuke, and then we also got announced today that Drew will be facing Jay, and that should be a pretty good match to further that whole storyline there. So look forward to that. CM Punk also did mention, if we didn't mention it, that not only will he be on Raw this Monday, but he will be making his decision as to who he will be signing with on Monday night. Spoiler alert, I think he's going to sign with Raw. I don't think there's any question that he's going to do that, but that's what we'll find out. So we have to look forward to on Monday. So unless you got anything else, Tribal Cheese, to add to this.
Yeah, no, I'm good to go. I'm ready to get off this thing.
You're ready to get off this thing? Yeah, I am
baby.
too. So, all right, guys. So until next time, that's the Tribal Cheese. I'm Johnny T. We are the SPP podcast.
Oh,
we're the Springboard Plancha podcast. That's who we are. And we talk wrestling, and we will see you next time. First round match, 2 first round match. Fuck.